Welcome to a special edition of Whitetail Roundup. What's so special? Where we've hooked up with Jake Steingraeber and Bryan Richey. Bryan is with Moonstands, and Jake's with Field and Stream and Outdoor Life Deer and Turkey Expos. And this weekend, yes, Friday, March 31st, Saturday, April 1st, and Sunday, April 2nd, is the 2017 Wisconsin Deer and Turkey Expo. You're not going to want to miss it. It's in Madison, Wisconsin. And you have the opportunity to get your ticket in advance by going to www.deerinfo.com/Wisconsin. Welcome to a special episode of Whitetail Roundup. Hey, the 2017 Wisconsin Deer and Turkey Expos are going to be in Madison, Wisconsin, starting on Friday, going to Saturday and Sunday. It's located at Alliant Energy Center, Madison, Wisconsin. It's pretty easy to find, and I'm so excited to have Jake Steingraeber on the phone. He is the executive director of Wisconsin Deer and Turkey Expo. Jake, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited about this year's show. Believe it or not, it marks the 33rd year, at the Alliant Energy Center. So, this show it's a great week. It's one of our biggest shows. And, it's just chock full of great exhibitors, lots of seminars. We're going to see a lot of trophy deer this weekend. So I'm very excited about being on the show and excited to do the show this weekend.
Well, I've hunted Wisconsin. Go ahead. I was going to say I've hunted Wisconsin. Go ahead. I've hunted Wisconsin a long time, and I know some of the big bucks that come out of, some of the farmlands in Buffalo County, and I think Wisconsin has got to be in the top 3 for Pope and Young bucks in the nation.
I mean, it's huge. Nobody can argue with that. Our shows, we do 6 of them around the country, and we're actually in Wisconsin, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Louisville, Kentucky, and even in Florida, Lakeland, Florida. And but Wisconsin continually produces big bruiser bucks, and it's just really neat. Every year, one of my favorite things to do is go up to the Trophy Deer Contest scoring area, and the folks over at Wisconsin Buck and Bear Club do all of our deer scoring. They do follow Boone & Crockett system. They have Pope and Young measures as well, and then they, if you're a shoot a Wisconsin buck, they can get you into their record book. But they will measure anybody that's got a Wisconsin harvested deer. It's like $20. You get a weekend pass with it. It's a pretty neat deal. But it's cool because they get to display the deer all weekend. You get to see some of the best bucks that were shot all year. And we'll draw a deer from like every single county in Wisconsin. So it's really a great value for people that are bringing their deer heads in.
Hey, share with me some of the headliners you have. I know John O'Brien from Soil to Success and Art Helen, Timing for Deer Vocalization and Rattling. I know them. We were at the Iowa Deere Classic together just a couple of weeks ago. But who else is on the docket for your seminars? Because people, they attend the seminars, man, they learn.
Yeah, the big, and I'd love to answer that question. The big pillars for like people that aren't familiar with the show, which if you're in the deer world and haven't been to the show, now's a chance to get on board. But the big pillars for what we do is the exhibit base. First and foremost, I don't want to sound offensive, but we don't do the flea market stuff. We just do straight up, industry stuff. Okay. So,
and that's good. I love it. I know exactly what you're saying.
You do. It's like we've got hard-earned money, and we want to spend that, to go to a show that's full of quality stuff that we want. So we're like very industry focused. We have a lot of outfitters as well on top of that. So everything that we let into the show is really focused around that side of things. I mentioned the deer contest, but then also the seminar speakers. Those are kind of our 3 big pillars, and there's everything else that we sprinkle on top. But when you asked about who's going to be there, Don Higgins, he's got a great seminar on giant steps to giant bucks. And he's really going to detail a couple of the things that he's learned over the years that's helped him harvest mature whitetails. So you really can absorb that knowledge from him. He'll speak. Each of these folks will speak 4 times in a weekend. So whether you come on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, you're going to have a chance to listen to these folks. Scott Bestel, who is a Field and Stream editor, writer, he's doing traits and tactics in which he's profiling some of North America's top trophy hunters. And he's interviewed these guys, he's studied these guys, and what they've put in and what they've learned to harvest mature whitetails. So that should be good. A very tactical. Both of those are very tactical, type seminars. Tony LaPratt is back again doing some new research stuff that he's found. Now, if you know Tony, he micromanages properties. He has this little property in Michigan that generates, incredible amount. He claims that in 14 and 15, they picked up 90 sheds on a 52-acre property. They only had 23 acres of wood.
Oh my goodness!
So,
oh wow,
yeah. So he's taking and he's doing everything from bedding areas, feeding trails. I mean, you name it. He'll teach you where to plant hard, soft mass trees on your property. He could take any property, no matter how big it is, and just make it that much better. So he's back. You mentioned Art Helen doing timing, deer vocalizations, and rattling. I got to see him at our Michigan Expo in February and sat through that seminar. And it's really worth the time to do it. Look, we all have rattling antlers and gun calls, and the problem is we're not always using them at the right times. And he really breaks it down, from a A to Z perspective on when you really should be using those types of calls and those kinds of techniques. So very educational there. Something else you mentioned, John O'Brien from Soil to Success. So he's really focused on generating, quality food plots. So that's highly educational, highly scientific. We've also got a couple of things that back in the mix. We've got some coyote predator control stuff with Mike Rust. We've got bear hunting with Bill Weisner. We've got venison butchering with Kurt Hyde, which is always popular. And then finally, we also have calling educated gobblers with Greg Abbas. We also have a couple seminars from the Wisconsin DNR doing deer management research and then nutrition-based management as well.
Well, thanks for that. And what kind of expectation do you have for a number of people that are going to come through there?
This show definitely generates over 25,000 people in the course of 3 days. So we just to give you the perspective, we have 599 exhibitor booths, which is about 325 unique exhibitors. And again, that's really chock full of the industry stuff as well as outfitters and then outdoor related products that we feel are relevant. So we'll also measure probably in the neighborhood of about 200 different deer for the Trophy Deer Contest. And we're going to have, there's multiple different categories. So even if we just have an 8-pointer, that's typical, you're not going to be competing, say, with like a non-typical firearm deer. You'll be classified in different classes. So all that info on all the rules, the exhibitor list, the schedules, all those highlights are at our website, deerinfo.com.
So, folks, the best place to go right now, it's only Tuesday, is deerinfo.com /Wisconsin. And then you're going to get everything you need to, find out where it is, and then the cost to get in, and then the seminars and other attractions that you take your list, and you got a map of the floor, right?
Yeah, there's a map out there as well. And what I'd highly recommend, because this is a very popular event, is the lines can get a little bit long. And so I'd recommend at deerinfo.com that you buy an advance ticket. What we do is we give you $3 off right there on the spot, and you can print your tickets off and skip right to the front of the line, which is popular. But also on the website, you're going to see all the other stuff. We always sprinkle in some fun stuff too. We've got like bow fishing ranges. We've got archery ranges and airgun ranges for the kiddos to get them involved. We've got, of course, everybody that pays to get in gets a free 1-year subscription to Field and Stream or Outdoor Life. So, I mean, right there, your value of your ticket is paid for. And then on top of that, we've just got a number of other things from like mammals of Wisconsin for the kids, chainsaw carving. We've got a mountain man camp out, live game animals, get a picture, taken with a bear. We've got archery trick shooting show with Byron Ferguson, and then something else I'll highlight, and I can't even say it all, but we've got the Whitetails of North America. We're talking about 24 of North America's biggest, most famous whitetails. the replicas, of course, and they're all fair chase, and those will be on display. In addition to all of the Wisconsin harvested deer that will be at the Trophy Deer Contest.
Hey, folks, www.deerinfo.com/Wisconsin is where you need to go today and tomorrow and make plans. Get in the car and head out. Bring the kiddos. Have fun. Madison's a great town, and you can get there on the interstate. The roads, it's easy to get to unless there's a blizzard. What's the weather report for it, Jake?
Well, we're sitting here. I haven't peeked it lately, but we're sitting in perfect Expo weather where it's, like in the 40s. I mean, it's in the 40s and it's kind of soggy out. So we've just got a lot of rain. There's not a ton that you can be doing anyways without mucking up your yard. So just delay the cleaning of the garage, delay the yard work. It'll be there when you get back. Come to the Deer and Turkey Expo in Madison. Again, we're running Friday, March 31st, and Saturday, April 1st, Sunday, April 2nd. And everything, again, is at deerinfo.com. All the wonderful vendors that we have and seminars and all that good stuff.
Hey, and I'll throw in a freebie. John O'Brien has some of my Whitetail Rendezvous hats. So if you go see John O'Brien and say, hey, Bruce said I get one of your hats if I buy, one of his small bags of seed, he said, you'll give me one of his hats. So at www.deerinfo.com/Wisconsin, go see John O'Brien and sure as heck shake Art Helen's hand because he really knows about vocalization and the timing of it. That's the biggest thing. We all know how to rattle and snort wheeze and do those sort of things, but there's specific times you want to do specific sounds, and within that, there's how you do it. The whole schedule or that you're going to do it. So listen to Art, go see John, and visit my good friend Bryan Richey from Moonstands. And Bryan, say hello to the folks.
Hello.
So that's Bryan Richey, and what we're going to do now is we're going to go into a discussion with Bryan Richey from Moonstands and Jake from Wisconsin Deer and Turkey Expos. Thank you so much for spending some time with our listeners today. And, people, get out to the show.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So, Bryan, what's your plans for the show?
We're excited. We're rolling in. We've got our booth set up there. This will be our second Deer and Turkey Expo that we've done this year. We were over a couple weeks ago in Ohio. Had a great turnout over there. We'll have our tree stands on display. Folks will be able to get up, walk around on the stands, actually see the new technology that we've come out with, and stand out there on the stand and see how it works, functions. We'll have some show discounts going on. Excited about that. We're going to have a raffle for either a Matthews Halon 32 or the new Matthews Avail as well. And then we'll have information on being able to pick up a treason jacket over there at our booth. So excited about getting out there, shaking people's hands, letting them check out our stand, and getting entered in for some of these awesome giveaways that we've got.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Whitetail Rendezvous, Moonstands, and Treason is sponsoring a giveaway for a Treason jacket. So make sure you go by Moonstands booth, sign up for that, and take a look at this. I've known Bryan for a little bit. He was on the show a month or so ago. We met at Iowa Deere Classic, and his stand is unique. There's nothing like it in the business. And if you want to be a 365 hunter with a 360 degree shot, then Moonstand's your solution. It's pretty it's that simple. And so, how did Moonstands begin? Give the listeners a little background about why it was created.
It was created out of just the sheer aggravation of watching deer come out behind us. As we've been going to these different shows across the country and chatting with folks, it's countless stories of folks that had a buck, and a lot of times it's always the buck that you're going to remember for a long time. It was that there's a gentleman that was in South Carolina this past week that had a 13 point that came out behind him, and he had trail camera pictures of him, and he never got a shot at him because of the traditional lock-on, hang-on stand the size of the platforms. He wasn't able to shoot behind him. And here's a deer that he put all this time and work in, ran trail cameras, had mineral sites out, food plot. So he put all this time and energy, sits in the woods, countless number of days. And then when the animal shows up, he's not able to get a shot at him because of the tree stand that he was hunting on. And that was the same exact thing that happened to us. My dad was the kind of the boiling point. We've all had it happen. My dad was actually sitting up in the tree stand hunting one day, and he had a buck come out and feed directly behind him for about 30 minutes and never got a shot at him. And the buck just walked on off out of his life, never seen him again. And he got down out of the tree and he said, all right, it's time to come up with a solution for animals walking up behind you, because nobody else in the industry has a stand that you can shoot 360 degrees. And when we went to the drawing board, the only way that we could figure out how to accomplish that was we needed to get rid of the cables. A lot of folks have heard the horror stories of those cables snapping, and it's not from a manufacturing defect. All the other companies that are in the industry do a lot of testing. They do a lot of research and design, and to put out a product that's functional and that it works. And then hunters, and I've been guilty of it as well in years past, but hunters will take their stand and put it up on a tree, and then they'll leave it there for numbers of years, whether it's 4, 5, 10 years, and then you start seeing the tree growing into the ratchet strap that's actually supporting the stand up there. And what that's doing is those cables are designed and built to be able to support the weight when it's in the proper condition. When you leave that stand out for an entire year, average hunt season's right at about 3-4 months. Well, when you leave it out there for the whole year, now all of a sudden you're quadrupling the weather effects, and some of the harshest weather effects are not during hunting season. You look at the springtime when we're just getting pounded with rain, and then the really cold winters in January and February, where most of the country doesn't have a hunting season at that point, and you've got snow, you've got sleet, you've got freezing temperatures, and all metals deteriorate no matter what type of metal it is. And if that stand was taken out of the woods and stored inside of a dry location, whether it's your shed, your garage, inside the house, you're going to extend the life of your product. But because the majority of the hunters will put it up and leave it there on the tree, what that does is it shrinks the life of that stand. And then when you're standing on that stand that has the cables, you're in essence standing on the trap door. You don't know when those cables are going to go out. And if the cable snaps on you, I pray and hope that you've taken the other cautions and you've got your hunter safety system harness on, or you've got your wingman that's going to lower you down to the ground. You've got something that's going to protect you from falling 20, 25 foot to the ground, either possibly death or create some type of major catastrophic life-changing injury that you'll have to go through day after day. And the horror stories, we were in South Carolina this past week, like I mentioned, and we had a gentleman that came up there, and he just got his back brace off from where he'd fallen out of a stand. I'm not going to mention the company's name, but the cable snapped on it, and he fell to the ground. And he's been in the back brace since October, and he just took that back brace off this past week. So he was one of the fortunate ones that isn't confined to a wheelchair or had something huge happen from that aspect. But having your back messed up, that's lingering effects that he's going to have. And going out and doing something that we love and that we enjoy to do and that we like to do, our primary goal is making sure people are able to go out and do it year after year in the safest way possible so that they can continue to enjoy what God's provided for us.
Thanks for that background. And, we talked about getting rid of the cables. Now, I've heard some people, Iowa Deere Classic, and they go, they're questioning, how's that going to support? So what are you rated at? When you go get your rating on your stand, what weight are you rated at?
We're rated at 300 pounds, which is pretty much the industry norm. There are some stands that are 350. There's some stands that are 250, but on average, the majority of the stands that you see out there are 300 pounds. And we're rated at 300 pounds no matter if you're standing in the center, out in front of the tree, like you would on a traditional lock-on stand, or if you're standing over on the outside edge. The technology behind it is, if you pictured a square tubing, a 3/4 piece of square tubing, and you unfolded that and made it flat, you've got a 3-inch flat bar. That 3-inch flat bar, when you put support and weight out there on the end, is going to support a whole lot more weight with having 3 inches of metal going up versus having a 3/4 square tubing. So it's a lot stronger. If you look inside of any commercial building, they're built with I-beams, not square tubing. And our stand is a cantilever system built off of an I-beam type of technology to where it's going to support the weight out there, and it drives all the pressure back into the engagement points on the tree, which is identical to how everybody else's stands function. The only difference is we've made it stronger by using flat bar versus square tubing.
So, folks, there is a difference, and we all put up all sorts of stands, and I started when there was wooden stands, and all those are off our farm now because things change. And when you think about deer hunting, you always want to come home to your family, and so safety is paramount. Yeah, you want to get your stand up, you want to get in the right place, get your shooting lanes, but the biggest thing is you got to make sure it's secure because I've fallen out of one tree way back when, and I never want to do it again. I was lucky; the branches broke my fall, and I was fine. I walked away, but other people haven't, and so the safety rope, the street stand wingman. There's a lot of things that go into hunting safe, and you just got to look at every single stand you have up, take it down, check the ratchets, check the straps. Squirrels and woodpeckers and all different things like to chew on your stands and or just make them a mess. So think safety and make sure you can come home to your family after your hunt. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And no matter what tree stand or type of tree stand that somebody decides to hunt on, it's just like the preventative maintenance that you have on your vehicle. The brakes are designed to stop you, but if you don't take it and inspect those brakes from periodically based on the manufacturer's recommendations, that vehicle's not going to stop when you need it most. And your tree stands aren't designed to be left out in the woods all year long. When you take it down, replace your straps, inspect those cables. After about 2-3 years, contact the manufacturer that you purchased your stand from and replace the cables. It's insignificant cost when you're comparing it to your life and your health. And it's way less expensive than purchasing a brand new stand. And a lot of times the actual structure of the stand, there's nothing wrong with it. It's the components that are holding all of it together. So the cables, the bolts, that's one of the things that we tell everybody is we've beefed up all the hardware on our stand. We've got grade 8, 5/16 bolts. And if you end up looking at the stand that you purchased from a different manufacturer, they might have grade 8, they might have grade 5, or whatever size bolt it is. So that's something that you could run to a local hardware store and replace those bolts every year, every 2 years. And you're talking about $4 or $5 to change out the hardware. And it's going to extend the life of your tree stand, saving you money in the long run, and as well as making it a lot safer to where you can keep going out and enjoying the activity of chasing these critters all over the country.
Now, we've talked a lot about moon stands. Now, how do you set up moon stand? Now, let's go into the tips, techniques, and strategies. And we've got, we got 10 more minutes of the show. So let's talk about tips, strategies, and techniques using moon stands. And this will work for anybody's stand, except you can't shoot 360 off anybody's stand. But let's talk about that right now. When you're looking to do a setup, let's take us from you're scouting the woods, you're looking for the right tree to do the setup, then the setup itself, and then, how you wait for deer and your strategy of making sure you're in the right place.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's several different locations on somebody's property, or if it's public land or if it's private land, on why you would pick that location, whether it's a travel corridor, coming from bedding, going to the food, if it's right on the edge of the bedding where you're going to try catching them as they're slipping back in to take a nap or coming back out. So once you end up getting the location figured out, then it's just a matter of what I've always done with all of my stand sets is I try to have as much backdrop as possible. What that's going to do is it's going to help minimize the opportunity of the animal skylining me. So whenever I'm looking at a tree for setting up a stand in it, I'm looking at what's going to be behind it to help break up my silhouette. What's unique on our a half moon tree stand is you're actually able to take it and utilize more of the tree for breaking up your silhouette, being able to roll around to the side. And that's a differentiator on our stand versus any lock-on stand on the market. There's no lock-on stand other than our half moon stand to where you can do that. And then it's time to install the tree stand. If you're using any type of lock-on stand, you're able to take it and put your climbing sticks. If you're still using screw-in steps, there's so many reasons why screw-in steps are dangerous. You end up slipping and they can end up going inside of your gut, or splitting your arm wide open, things of that nature. But whatever your climbing apparatus that you're going to use for ascending up the side of the tree, you put that up to whatever desired height that you're wanting it at. And then whether you're hanging a 10-pound, 14-inch wide platform, a 20-pound stand, a 40-pound stand, or a 100-pound double ladder stand, you take and put a rope with a pulley around the tree. And what that does is now you're able to raise your hunting stand regardless of the weight, and it's going to keep you in a safe position. Because at the end of the day, what it all comes around to is we like hunting, but we like it that much that we want to keep going out and doing it, but we want to come home to our loved ones in the same health that we left it. And there's no sense. None of us were born with a tail and claws to dig into the tree, so we don't need to be hanging off the side of the tree like a monkey or a squirrel fighting the tree stand. You run the rope down to the ground, you pull it up to whatever location or height that you're wanting it at, and majority of the times when you're out hanging tree stands, you're there with another buddy, a family member. That individual can stay on the ground and adjust it to whatever height that you're wanting it at. A little bit higher, pull down on the rope, a little bit lower, let up on the rope. And then while you're on the side of the tree, ready to ratchet strap it down, all you're focused on is finessing it to the exact location that you wanted on the tree, and you're not battling any of the weight, because a 10-pound bag of sugar gets heavy after a while if you hold your arm straight out. And if all you're doing is not focused on holding the weight up, just moving it side to side to get it in that perfect location, then you ratchet strap it down and you're ready to hunt, regardless of what tree stand that you're hunting on. I own almost every tree stand company that's out on the market. Both before we came up with moon stands, I had several of them, and then when we ended up deciding that we were going to go forward, I wanted to see what the other companies were doing, what they were doing well, and what I liked about their stands and what I didn't like about their stands. So I went out and purchased a lot of the newer stands that were out and started hunting off of those and figuring out what I liked and what I didn't like. And that's what's helped shape and mold our tree stand into what it is all the research over the last 3.5 years that we put into designing the round seat, the thickness and the texture and the material that we're using on our seat. I can tell everybody that it's the most comfortable seat that you're going to sit on. But until you actually sit on it, you don't understand that theory or that mindset behind it. A round seat's going to give you support right there on your rump, whereas a square seat, which is typically what everybody else has, ends up cutting in on the back of your legs and shutting off that circulation to where it's an irritation to where you've got to move around more. You got to move around sooner than later, so it makes it a lot more comfortable for a longer set. So, but hanging it in a particular tree, different reasons why you would pick a different location over somewhere else, and putting them up into the tree it is extremely safe if you're using the technology and the tools that are available. If you decide that you're going to go out there and act like a monkey or a squirrel, and you're going to end up getting tired or potentially hurt, and it doesn't matter what stand you're hanging. I would love if everybody was giving moon stands an opportunity and checking it out, because they'll end up not having those stories like the fellow that had that 13-point South Carolina walk up behind you, because he would have been able to take a shot at him. But regardless of what tree stand company, the products that you're using, that you'll continue to use. I like my lone wolf stands that I've got, and there's buddies of mine that have them, and they'll keep purchasing those stands. And what I tell them is, hey, look, go out and buy you a pulley. That way you can do it safer. Because the last thing I want is somebody that I'm friends with or that I'm related to end up getting hurt hanging a tree stand. So my biggest push is I want to be the voice of safety and logic with some of the technology that's out there. And for $10 for picking up a pulley and a rope at any hardware store. You can stand on the ground and hang those stands, and you're going to continually be able to go out and hunt. You're in the same health that you went out with, because you're not jeopardizing your safety by hanging off the side of a tree like you're a monkey.
And thanks for that. And folks, I'll just echo one more time. And, we all love hunting out of tree stands. A lot of deer get killed out of tree stands, but tree stands can be your own worst enemy, and it can put you in situations that you don't want to be. It happens every year. We all hear stories. So don't let it be you. When you go to a show, let's just talk about this for a minute, and then we'll call it a show. When you go to a show, what do you expect? What type of questions do you expect from the people walking the aisles?
Probably the biggest question that we end up getting is, can I stand on top of it? And the answer is yes. And then it's followed up with a question on the weight on our stand. Our quarter moon stand is 24 pounds, 14 ounces, so 25 pounds. Our half moon is 41.5 pounds. And then followed by our cost. The cost on our half moon stand is $260. And then our quarter moon stand is $200. And we don't have any shipping charges. That's one of the things that we end up getting a lot. If you go to any of the big box stores, they might offer some type of free shipping on purchases over a certain dollar amount. And then you see the little fine print at the bottom. There's certain items that aren't on there. Tree stands are one of those, just because of the size of the box. Our shipping cost is factored into our cost of our stand. We don't charge you anymore if you live. We're housed out of Florida. And if you live in Florida or you live in Washington, which is the farthest for me to ship a stand, it costs the same exact amount to the consumer. So we don't charge. There's no extra hidden fees. If it's $260, it's $260. It's not going to be additional for one person versus another person. And then being able to stand up on it, that's probably our biggest question that we end up getting. Hey, can I stand up on it? And then folks actually getting to touch it and see the I-beam support system that's up under it, which is not like anything else, because everybody else is made with the square tubing. Nice thing is everybody comes to the shows to be able to walk around and look at stuff. And if you're buying a tree stand that's 48 inches wide, you don't want to have to lug that box around up and down these aisles when there's 25,000 plus people attending over the weekend. So what we do is we'll have one individual there, whether it's myself or one of the other ambassadors that we've got on our team that's hanging out at the booth with us, and we'll roll the tree stand right up out to the front door to where you can pull your vehicle up, so you can still walk around, enjoy the show, and have curbside delivery of your stand. So that's a nice feature that we end up doing, just because we want everybody to be able to enjoy the show, but be able to take a stand that you can shoot 360 degrees home with.
Well, Bryan, Richey, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about moon stands, and that you're going to be attending the Wisconsin Deere and Turkey Classic at Allegiant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin, starting on Friday. And don't forget to go to the website for the event. And that website is deerinfo.com/Wisconsin. So do that. Today's Tuesday. You'll be hearing the show on Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday it'll be running for the whole time of the show. So I'll start at Thursday evening, and then we'll just go from there. But thanks so much, Bryan Richey, Moon Stands, for being at the show, and along with Trees and Camo, John O'Brien from Grandpa Ray Outdoors, Art Helen from Art Helen Outdoors, and Whitetail Rendezvous. We're all going to be there in one shape or fashion, and stop by the booth and hey, for just signing up, you get a chance to win a wonderful Trees and jacket. So good luck to you all, Bryan. And any last thoughts?
No, just look forward to everybody coming out, swing over, take a look. I know that there's a lot of folks that are looking at picking up their tree stands now, because we'll have some show discounts going that will definitely end up saving you some money over purchasing it in July and August when you're actually out hanging your tree stands. So take advantage of those discounts. Come over, get the information for entering in to win that Trees and jacket, and then we'll have the raffle for a brand new Matthews Halon 32 for the Avell that we'll have going on over there. So get entered in for a free bow, which Wisconsin, Sparta's just right down the road where Matthews headquarters out of. So come over and support a local company, Matthews, pick up the bow, their new flagship bow for this year, and let's talk hunting.
Thanks so much. And with that, that's a wrap. And again, one more time, www.deerinfo.com/Wisconsin to get all the information that you need to attend Wisconsin Deer and Turkey Expo.
Bam.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.